Welcome to Motorsports Today, powered by SeatGeek. Use code MTODAY for $20 off your first purchase at checkout. I'm Kalegi. This weekend, Adam Tropper and I traveled from the East Coast to the West Coast to cover NASCAR Championship Weekend at Phoenix Raceway, where 3 new champions would be crowned. Before the action on track, Commissioner Steve Phelps and President Steve O'Donnell delivered the sport's annual State of the Sport address. Within it, a statement was read about the sport's ongoing lawsuit with 2311 and FRM and the future of the charter system.
$5 billion now to the race teams. Guaranteed starting positions each week that allow teams to sell sponsorship on the best billboards in sports, the next-gen car. And charters guaranteed for 14 years until at least 2039, plus an obligation to negotiate in good faith beyond that. The bottom line here is NASCAR is committed to charters. I also want to be clear, the France family started NASCAR in 1948 using their own resources, grit, and ingenuity. They have taken countless personal and financial risks, investing billions of dollars and untold hours into growing this sport to create the opportunity for teams to race in front of fans for nearly 8 decades.
The Truck Series took the stage first, and Heim was fast, but there was also plenty of carnage throughout the race that allowed Ankrum, Honeycutt, and Majeski to stay in the mix, including a big crash that collected Andres Perez de Lara and Ben Rhodes.
I tried to watch the replay briefly. I just saw I got wiped out. I didn't watch it long enough to make out why or how it happened. I just see I was running my line and got wiped out. It felt like that. Definitely one of the harder hits I've had in a long time. Just, unfortunately, we were making adjustments and taking time on pit road to get some short run speed in it, banking that this race would get some cautions at the end like it more than likely does. But we never got a chance to see those come to fruition. So it stinks, but Camperson was here tonight, and we really wanted to give him a good run. Close out the season strong, but maybe my teammate Ty Majeski can go do that for the organization tonight.
Is there any way for you to be able to build any momentum?
Well, I like plate racing a lot, and usually we always make it entertaining. We're usually always leading right to the every time except the white flag. Something happened. Talladega, another perfect example of that 2 weeks ago. So I don't need momentum necessarily going to Daytona. We'll build some there, but we're going to take this as an opportunity to rebuild this winter and make our program a lot stronger.
These crashes set up a mixed bag of strategies, and Heim had to make a move. 4 tire stop, and it was Heim time. A 7-wide move to go from 10th to 2nd, and then in overtime, he took the win of the race, his 12th of the year, and the 2025 championship. The same couldn't be said for Ty Majeski and Tyler Ankrum, who were left wondering, what if?
The late race caution shook everything up, but what more did you feel like you really needed in specifics tonight, and what can you still take from this season, even though you didn't end up on top at the end?
Yeah, I mean, first, to answer your first question, I felt like we were just a little bit off in dirty air tonight. I wasn't really in clean air too much, but when the field kind of got strung out a little bit, I could match the 11 at times, but when I was up close to somebody, fought a little bit of everything. And I know that's a little bit cliche, with dirty air. We talk about it every single week, but just fighting rear lateral, and I don't feel like I turned as good as him. So just a little bit of everything tonight. It's not that we were bad; we were just a step off the 11 tonight.
And quickly for Tyler, obviously you were able to pick things up towards the end of that race, get up towards the front, but ultimately weren't able to get it done. What did you feel like you were kind of missing at the start of the race, and how do you move forward after a season where you're able to snap that winless streak and get a lot of positives?
The first 2 stages were real rough. We were just really, really bad in dirty air, really bad on the long run, and then finally, when we came back down in third stage and put tires on it, we took 3/4 of an inch out of spoiler height out of it. Just to get the spoiler out of the air, tighten me up in general, just to make it drive a little bit better in dirty air, and that really made the truck come to life. That last long green flag run, we went from I think 17th to 8th. The truck came to life, and really felt like if we had one more caution, probably could have driven it to the top 5, and then we just got sandwiched there 3 wide just on that second to last restart. That's Phoenix. You're driving head on to the spotters right there into the final corner. That's really, really difficult on their part. That's why it's so important having really, really good spotters up on top of the roof. My spotter, Kevin Hamlin, did a fantastic job all day long keeping us clean up until that point. But, at that point in time, nobody's lifting. We're all going to the corner, and we're just going to see who makes it through. So good effort at the final stage to get it to the top 10. Just unfortunately, we couldn't close it out.
Well, it was a historic season for Corey Heim, who was dominant from the beginning and was rewarded with the championship. His future plans aren't set, but for now, Heim is on top of the truck racing world.
Hey, Corey, Eddie Kalegi, Motorsports today. Congrats on the championship. 2 quick ones for you. I hate to keep harping on the 7-wide move, but on the end of it, obviously there's like infinite amounts of space going through 1 and 2, but then it all funnels. And when you're on the bottom lane and you've got to clear up, what's going through your mind at that point as you're trying to just make sure you don't run into anybody and you're able to make it stick?
Yeah, I knew if I was going to enter low on the apron like that, I was going to need to shift to third gear. So I grabbed third pretty quick, tried to roll speed, and as soon as I tipped in the throttle, I couldn't believe how much grip I had down there, compared to everyone else. I was just rolling by him. And I didn't really know how many people were on my outside at that point, and I really didn't care. I was just going to commit the throttle, and if someone got in the wall, I really didn't care, honestly. I was just going to keep going because I needed momentum down the backstretch. So, as you said, it kind of funnels off of 2, and, being from the inside wall all the way back out to the outside wall on exit, I was just kind of hoping that I wasn't 4 or 5 wide and not going to get hooked into the outside wall, so did everything I could to just get pointed straight and not put anyone in a bad spot, and just was able to pull through. I don't know. It's kind of all a blur at this point, to be honest with you.
And you talked about the execution from a team standpoint, but for you as a driver, going back to 2023 to now, how do you feel that you have most improved your craft to get to this point?
Yeah, I think it's just about learning something new every week. I think looking back at 2023, I felt like I had a decent understanding of where I needed to be at in the truck, and I had a lot of holes in my development as far as especially like short track and this style racetrack, as far as my driving style and everything, and I really never figured it out until this year, to be honest with you. I've always felt confident on intermediates, road courses, maybe super speedways, but the short track and 1 mile and under racetrack style, I've never felt extremely confident, but I was able to work with Trevor and Blake on that deal, and 2311 also, just spending a lot of time in their shop at airspeed and making sure that I know just what is, I guess, setting me apart from the competitors and everything. So put a lot of work and effort into it this year, and I feel like we're definitely the best truck on those style racetracks. And of course, my equipment got better. I feel like we all got better as a team, but I think I was a big part of that, and just understanding what I was lacking and what I needed to do.
Then Saturday was the Xfinity Series turn, with an all-Chevrolet Final Four with Chevy drivers Carson Hocevar and Raja Caruth watching on from the pits. Phoenix has long been Justin Allgaier's track, and Connor Zilisch, his JRM teammate, looked lightning quick throughout the race. But on pit road early in Stage 3, Jesse Love jumped from 5th to 1st, and both Allgaier and Zilisch lost some ground, and neither one was able to get back to the front. And in a year where Connor Zilisch had a historic 2025 campaign with 10 wins, he ends 2025 without an Xfinity Series championship.
Eddie Kalegi, Motorsports today. Connor, obviously, it's hard to compartmentalize in a moment like this, but you did still have a historic season in the Xfinity Series, racking up all the victories, and while it didn't happen tonight, how can you still look positively on this, even though you did come up short, and use it as fire maybe to head to the Cup Series next year?
Yeah, I'm still so proud of my team and what we've accomplished this year. We have nothing to hang our heads about. We were the best car for 2/3 of the year, and we dominated until these last 3 races, and yeah, it cost us a championship. So we'll keep our heads high. We are walking home with more than 3 times as many trophies as anybody else, and we won the most races, had the most top 10s, top 5s, poles. There's no reason we should be upset because of this outcome.
Questions about the championship format aside, Jesse Love and RCR executed Phoenix to perfection, bookending the season with wins after winning the season opener at Daytona back in February. Jesse Love became the 2025 Xfinity Series champion, defeating 3 Junior Motorsports Chevys along the way.
We didn't just run 6 and then get a crazy pit road or pit call and then go 6th to 1st in the last lap, right? So that definitely makes it feel more rewarding, but at the same time, it wouldn't really change a whole lot, right? I I don't think. But I'm not in that situation, so I don't really know. But I think for the whole team, it's really gratifying. That was the most dominant car we've probably brought all year, with the exception of maybe Rockingham. So that's also a really good feeling.
Will you stay off social media to avoid any reaction of people saying whether you should have won this title or not?
Well, I really don't give a shit what people think. I get a big old trophy. I get a nice check. I get a lot of things that come out of this. So, yeah, I don't know. I was wondering who was going to be the first person to bring it up. I'm sure somebody's going to say it more bluntly than you, but at the same time, like, I'm not like somebody that like devalues like what the fans say either, which kind of sound contradicting now. But like when I say stuff and people like call me out on Twitter or something, like I do like actually listen. So like their opinions are valid. Obviously the world would be kind of a boring place if we all agreed on everything, and that's never going to happen. So yeah, I'm going to look at it. I don't really care at the end of the day, but I still like to be a part of, I guess, the circle of life and like see how people react to certain things. And I have my thoughts on it, and they're going to have theirs, and that doesn't bother me at all.
And I have one more. Do you have to balance it all, trying to compare yourself to Connor versus comparing yourself to your own performance?
It's a great question. It's been really hard this year, right? At the end of the day, I want to walk in the room and feel like the man, right? And I did, right? And for quite a while, like once I had like my breakout ARCA season, I was like the hottest thing for the most part, with the exception of probably Corey. And then Connor kind of took that away from me. And it's been really tough, right? Hard to deal with that. Just the way that your friends look at you, the way that the fans look at you, it's all tough. And it was a hard pill for me to swallow. But I knew at the end of the day, I sat down one day and I was like, well, I can't control, what Connor does, right? But I can control what I do. And every day I woke up and he's motivated me to be better, right? Because I don't like losing to him.
Jesse Love wasn't the only champion on Saturday night. By virtue of passing Connor Zilisch for second in the final laps, Eric Almirola sealed up an owner's championship for the number 19 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Almirola, a Cup Series veteran, is back on the track after retiring to spend time with family.
So, talking about family and emphasizing that, especially with Joe Gibbs, I just am observing right here. How does it feel to have your family and your kids with you on stage? How much of a full circle moment is that?
It's amazing. Never gets old. Celebrating with my family, and every dad wants their kids to look up to them like a superhero, right? And it's pretty easy when they're 3, 4, 5. It gets really hard when they're this age. Right, they get a lot smarter. They know everything. They have their own friend group. Dad becomes not very cool, but in moments like these, Dad is still cool, right? And I love it. It is awesome to be able to share these moments with my family, because this is what it's all about for me. I stepped away from full-time racing because I was fearful that I was making way too many sacrifices with my family to focus on chasing my dreams in my career. And I wanted my kids to know that they're more important to me than trophies or my career or chasing more money or any of those things. And that's why I decided to walk away. So to have the opportunity to do both is incredible.
Heading into the Cup finale, let's hear from crew chiefs James Small and Rudy Fugle, pole sitter Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and even the defending champ Joey Logano, who offered some advice to the competitors.
I think it's interesting approach-wise because the results speak for themselves, and Chase has qualified so well this year, but this is the one race where for you guys the only thing that matters is where you finish on the final lap. So does the approach really change at all this week, or is it business as usual like the first 35 weeks?
Business as usual. Qualifying is going to be super important as well. So hopefully we can have a strong run and try and get the number one stall. But track position's always going to be king. So if you can qualify up front, you're going to stay there more than likely.
You or the 5 team win the championship, it would be Hendrick Motorsports' 15th championship in 30 years, basically 50% of that entire time frame. So if you guys are the ones to get it done, what would that mean? Just won your first championship with William Byron in general, but also being able to add on to that legacy of a 24 car in Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, I mean, Hendrick Motorsports is built on a culture from Mr. and Mrs. Hendrick. It's gone on this is year 41. I understand the championships are the last 30. I'm taking your word for that. But it means everything because that's what we're here to do. He gives us all the tools, lets us do our thing. It gives us all the trust in the world and support. And, that's our goal is to support and give that championship to him and everybody that works there. They've been working there for so long and so hard, and it's just been a long year. So trying to finish it out with a championship is it will be huge.
First off, Denny, congrats on the pole. Over here, raising my hand. So this is your 48th career pole, good for 11th all time.
48.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And 8 of those you've won from the pole. But what I'm wondering is that's an overlooked accomplishment, but how do you see that throughout your career just on the list of having that consistent speed?
Yeah, I mean, the fact we've only won 8 of those is not great. So I don't know that it directly correlates, but certainly it's always an advantage to qualify on the pole. There's never a disadvantage to starting first and having the number 1 pit stall. So, yeah, I don't know. You just hopefully it's 9. You just try to do everything you can to execute it, but it's just things have always progressed too. A lot of it depends on the racetrack, and I just truly believe tomorrow the best cars, whoever it is, and it could be someone that qualified 20th, can make their way to the front with the tire and the track surface that we've got right now. So. Hopefully, I think it's going to be a battle amongst us 4 with probably a few others sprinkled in there. But, it's going to be fun to watch.
And then one other question for Kyle. Obviously, William and Denny have been in the championship 4 position before, but Kyle, you've only won it before up there with a championship prior. So I'm wondering just how do you see your weekend right now, just your mentality different from others going into the championship race?
I don't know. I mean, I remember being pretty grounded and laid back in 2021 because we had a great season to that point. So I was pretty content whether we won or lost the championship that we had an amazing year. And then I think the experience that I've had in the Final Four since then has made me just as calm this time. So I don't know. I've felt pretty good about things this week and felt like I've handled it well, just the plannings of family and friends and whatnot coming out just through the other experiences. So yeah, just glad we're one day away from getting to finally get on track to go race.
Joey, you've obviously won 2 championships in this format at this track. What advice could you give to drivers like, say, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, who have been in this spot before and haven't been able to get it done like you were able to?
I don't know if I'm the one should be giving advice. Everybody's different, right? Everybody handles things differently. Everyone handles, the weekend differently. I do always laugh when everyone says it's just another race weekend and it's just another race because it's such a load of crap because it's not. It's so much more than that. It's always funny when I hear that. I will say that, but it's I don't know. Like I said, everybody's different, but the pressure is real and their teams everybody's different on their teams too, right? Whether it's their crew chief and all that. So everyone's got to do it their own way, right? Like I can't be somebody else. They can't be me, right? You got to kind of figure out your own way of doing it. So I don't know if I can give the best advice, but I know the only thing I know is that, it's the opportunity of doing something that will follow you the rest of your life is tomorrow, right? Like that day is that day will happen. And, the one thing you don't want is to go to sleep tomorrow night saying, I didn't think of this, or I should have thought of this and tried a little bit harder here, or put a little bit more effort into this, and I'm
might have given myself a better chance. That's my biggest fear.
Well, it has come. Championship Sunday, after 9 long months, NASCAR Cup Series 2025 season comes to a close in the desert at Phoenix Raceway. Eddie Kalegi, Adam Tropper here with you. Behind us, you see a few of the championship 4. Denny Hamlin starting on pole, 19th season, maybe his best chance at a championship. Got to 60 wins. He wants that title. William Byron, best car in the round of 8. Can he make it happen, win a championship for that 24? What about his teammate Kyle Larson, only person in the Final 4 who's won a championship before? And then Chase Briscoe starting a little further back in 12th, the underdog, but certainly can get it done. He's won at Phoenix before. Tropper, we've had a fun weekend. A deserving champion Friday in Corey Heim. Maybe not so much last night with Jesse Love over Connor Zilisch, but it's going to come down to 4 drivers, all of whom are deserving and could win it.
Yes, it's been an incredible weekend for sure. We got to say, trucks, 7 wide move, Corey Heim, incredible. Xfinity yesterday, the last Xfinity race ever, actually. And I will say, Jesse Love has had a very underrated season. It just maybe didn't match Connor Zilisch's incredible one. But here we are, Cup, and you're right. Out of all 10, 11 seasons in this elimination era, this might be the most stacked championship 4 field we've had, where every single driver has a legit case to be the champion here. And it's going to be a good one. 3 of the 4 are starting in the front. Chase Briscoe, as you said, is going to be a little bit farther back, but I have no doubt that this is going to be entertaining until the very end.
Yeah, tires were interesting Friday too. 7 drivers with flat tires in practice, so we don't really know what to expect. Tires have been very unpredictable on these shorter tracks all season long. Quick picks, I'm going Denny Hamlin. This is the year he does it. Maybe he rides off into the sunset, but I'm going Denny. How about you, Tropper?
I hate to piggyback, but I have to agree. I mean, after all the near misses Denny's had in his career, it's now or never. This is the time. He's as motivated as ever. He won the pole for the race, so he has a fast car, and I think he's finally going to pull it off.
Well, it seemed like our predictions were going to hold true early. Denny Hamlin led over 200 laps and was the dominant car for much of the race. But much like Friday, a lot of it came down to pit road and tires, as all 4 championship contenders had a flat at some point in the race. None were costed more, though, than Chase Briscoe. The 19 car had to drive up from outside the top 30 twice for 2 separate flat tires after having a rough start to the weekend on Friday in practice, and it felt like the momentum just never not going for the 19 after a career year for Chase Briscoe in year 1 with Joe Gibbs Racing.
I mean, I definitely felt like I was more than capable, just to go from the back to the front that many times. I would have loved to have just been able to race straight up. I got back to second and, was able to run William down there and thought I was really, really good. And I blew like the second or third tire. So, yeah, definitely it's a race of, what could have been. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like hopefully at least people felt like we were here and in contention. We weren't average running position-wise up there a whole lot, but certainly I felt like, I don't know, I felt like we had one of these strongest cars for sure, and if we could have just, started up front, or not even started up front, just not had issue after issue, we would have been in the mix. I thought we did everything, right as far as pit stops and obviously car speed and balance. It just, the tires just didn't go our way.
As the race went on, it looked like Denny Hamlin's championship to lose, and it was palpable, but with 4 laps to go, William Byron was running third when he blew a right front tire, hitting the wall and bringing out the caution. Under the yellow flag, Denny Hamlin pitted for 4 tires, Kyle Larson just 2, cycling into the championship lead, and in overtime, Larson was able to get it done. Denny Hamlin was devastated and distraught, getting comforted by family and team members post-race, but after 20 years and 60 wins, Denny Hamlin still remains without a Cup Series title. Hamlin and William Byron both spoke about the disappointment after the race.
Doesn't seem right, I think just kind of seeing him, he had beat us, right, and we're running second, and it's 4 laps to go, and you go into the wall and cause a caution, so it sucks, right? I don't want to be that guy. Even if I'm in the championship 4, it doesn't really matter. Just don't want to change the outcome, so it sucks.
Did the best I could, there's just everything I really prepared for, happened today, and I felt like we responded, and even losing track position at one point and just battling back, and did really well on restarts. Hadn't been good on restarts, for the bulk of the year, and just the team brought a great championship car, and I felt like I drove it just right up until 2 laps to go, and so this is the part that stinks.
Well, he didn't lead a lap, but he had more points scored this season than any other driver, and Kyle Larson certainly is a deserving 2-time NASCAR champion, especially with the way he closed things out in overtime, passing 3 cars on the outside on the final restart. For Larson, it didn't seem possible at points in the race, but he got it done, and both he and Jeff Gordon spoke about the victory for HMS.
Never did I feel like I had it, but when I was honestly surprised people had stayed out. I thought I was going to line up on the front row with Ryan, and I was like, okay, this is going to be good. He's going to choose the bottom. I know what to expect into one with grip. And then when they said, a few of them stayed out, I was like, oh no, this is not good. But I was able to line up behind Alex and just run really hard through 1 and 2 and get the clean air I needed. And I thought my hope was that Denny was not going to get, a great 1 and 2, but I thought, with 4 fresh tires, he might, get through there well, and we might be side by side. I thought that's how it kind of would net out off of 2, and I got a better 1 and 2 than I expected, and then for a bit I thought I was going to win, and they were going kind of crazy on the radio, my spotter was, and telling me that the 11 was, kind of jammed up back there, and I was going to be committed to the outside lane. I felt like that was going to be my best opportunity to find clean air and maintain momentum, and I was just kind of trying not to crash there at the end. But I still wanted to win really bad. It's been a while, so I was trying what I could to win the race. But we did what we had to do to win the championship, and just insane circumstances to get us to this point.
Yeah, just since he's been with us, the maturity level, obviously he has, 3 kids, and so as a father, that certainly forces you to mature quickly. And not saying that he wasn't mature, but he when I first met him, he just kind of had one singular focus and goal. It's just be aggressive, win races, and be a dirt racer on top of being a stock car racer. He never wanted to give that up. And I think what I've seen now is how he embraces his teammates, the whole organization, Chevrolet, and what they're doing. He's just seeing the bigger picture and his role in it, and how important the other people around him are to that effort. And so I just see, he engages in our meetings. I guess I thought when he came, it was great. Race car drivers can be pretty selfish. Don't say anything, Rick. I know.
I'm going to tell him you said that.
But they can be really selfish. And so, I kind of had this impression of him of coming in and being pretty selfish, but you're coming into a 4-car organization. And he has surprised me. He's been anything but that. He brings stuff out of the other drivers in the meeting. He's giving everything that's on his plate or on his mind in the meetings. And it's that brings out that same thing in others around him, and it elevates the whole organization.
Lost in the shuffle of this dramatic championship battle, 2023 champ Ryan Blaney became the second non-contender to win the finale in the playoff era, also taking 2 tires and ending the year on a high note for Penske, even though their championship streak ended at 3 years.
On that last restart, you had the championship guys. You also had people on old tires in front of you, and we saw how crazy that was in the truck race on Friday. So just how did you navigate all that through those final 2 laps?
Yeah, I knew, I came off first on 2 tires, and there was a handful of guys on 2 before the guys on 4, and there was 3 guys who stayed out. And tires wore a lot today, so I knew those guys were going to be struggling. The guys who stayed out, Brad and Priest and Bowman. And I didn't go as low as Heim did in the truck race in 1 and 2, but I tried to shortcut on the apron, try to get away as much as I could. But yeah, it was just a matter of kind of hitting the bottom and making sure I left room for the couple guys I was racing. I knew the 5 was out there. I wanted to leave room. When we were 3 wide with Priest and him, I didn't want to be the guy who, is a huge, costing a guy a championship, right? Because I try to be respectful of all those guys. I raced them with a lot of respect today, and just because that's what I expect. But yeah, the last corner was crazy. I just kind of went down the backstretch, just wrap the line, and you're going to have the drive off, and it might be enough to get there. And fortunately, it was. So yeah, it was a good call by Jonathan. Put 2 on it, keep us in the ball game, and had the car enough to do it. It's kind of ironic that we won it on a restart because my restarts were terrible all day. I couldn't go. Those guys were so much better than me for probably 15 laps or so, and then I could get moving and start working my way forward. But gosh, my pit crew gave me the lead twice today, and I just got driven around. I just didn't have the grip that some of those guys had. I had a long run car, but pretty ironic we won it on a restart.
Well, that's a wrap on 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. Kyle Larson, a 2-time champion for Hendrick Motorsports, gets it done in overtime. Ryan Blaney wins the race. Eddie Kalegi, Adam Tropper here with you. Larson, we'll talk about in a second, but the story, Denny Hamlin, crushing defeat, dominated this race. 3 laps to go. William Byron blows the tire, the 4-tire call. Very reminiscent of the truck race. You have a dominant 11 car, you have a late caution, you have different tire strategies, but unlike Corey Heim, Denny Hamlin unable to get it done in what is his best shot at a championship through 20 years.
His best shot, but also his 20th shot. Denny Hamlin has had a first ballot Hall of Fame career. 60 wins, 6 of them this season, and he led 2/3 of this race. So it's just brutal to see the way it goes down for him, but obviously that's just the state of competition in NASCAR.
Yeah, but Kyle Larson gets it done. Give credit to Cliff Daniels. That team had a masterful year. Great run through the end of the season. And you got to compare this with yesterday. Nobody can argue that Connor Zilisch shouldn't have been the Xfinity Series champion. Kyle Larson, if you went by full season points, was the champion. You can complain about overtime. You can complain about the format existing in the way that it does, but you can't say that Kyle Larson didn't deserve this championship. He had a great year. He had a great playoff, and statistically, he was even better than Denny Hamlin at times.
Exactly. The last 7 races, he was 2 runner-up finishes. Larson doesn't have as many wins, admittedly, but it's really just a situation of don't hate the player, hate the game, and that's why NASCAR is looking into format changes for next year potentially, because a lot of people did not like how the game turned out. But regardless, in terms of just how the rules went down, Kyle Larson is your champion and a deserving 2-time champion.
Yeah, and right there now he starts to chase Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson as an elite driver at Hendrick Motorsports as a multi-time champ. Ryan Blaney, shout out to him too. Good run at the end, good run throughout the day. He gets a win to close the year strong for Penske, even though their title streak ends at 3 years. But that's going to do it for our coverage here from Motorsports Today from Phoenix. 10 NASCAR races, 4 IndyCar races all across the country all year long. Excited to do it again in 2026.